Hello everyone. If you're watching this, providing this video as a support for you for your mid-semester exam. I know some of you will want to take the exam during your study break because you won't have a lot to do, so which is understandable. I hope this video helps you. So I'm just going to share my screen with you. Most of the files I'm going to use here, they are on Blackboard. They're on Blackboard. Just go check course documents, and under course document, you're going to see Microsoft Excel for practice, and that's where you're going to get the documents. So if you remember, we worked on this yesterday, and we didn't complete this work. So one of the things that we're going to do is this is saying that we should put the date. So for us to include the date, we don't have to type it in manually. It's a very good function on Excel. You just have to put equal to today, open bracket, close bracket, and click enter, and you can see the date. So the next thing here is the customer name, So it's giving us customer ID without the name. And we have other sheets here that reads the customer ID, company name. So it means this is where the customer information is. We also have rates. So it means we have this, right? It means we have this information. So, and how do we get this? We're going to use our VLOOKUP function, So we go to formulas and we click on lookup, scroll down and click lookup. It's going to say, what should we look up? We want to look up customer ID. And what table are we going to use? So we have to click on customers and say, this is the table we want to use. This is our table array, right? That is our table array. Do not forget to make it absolute so that it's going to work for all the columns there. So we have to make it absolute by adding the $sign. Add the $sign to it. And what is the column index here? It is 2. And you'll agree with me that the table there is 2. So you click OK, and it's going to come as Beta Graphics. It means that is the customer name. So we have customers that are companies. So it's like company names. So you can drag it down, and it's going to generate names for you, which is a good thing. We also have rate here. You will notice the rate column here is empty, so we need to get the rate. So if you look at this, these are match hours, we have customers, we have rates. So this is where we get the rate. They have description and hourly rate. So what should we do? We're going to use the VLOOKUP function again. So we go to formulas and we go to lookup. Click on lookup. And what will be our lookup value? Our lookup value is the call type name, because it depends on the call type name. That is how we're going to know the rate, right? So, and it's going to say what table array should we look at? So we have to go to rates and say, look at this table, look at this table, look at this table. And please do not forget to make it absolute, make the values absolute. So the column index number is 2 because we had 2 tables under rates. So, and here, because we have similar names, and when we're working with names, we need the exact match. and not the closest match. If we need the closest match, we can just say, okay, the range lookup, we should just leave it empty. But because we need the exact match, we're going to say false. It means return nothing. If it's not that exact name, return nothing. That's all we're trying to say to Excel. So you see how it is, and you click OK. So it's going to come with rate. So you can easily drop it down, and you're going to get the rate. So it's going to say amount billed. So for amount billed, you have hours logged. So it means this person has worked for maybe 12.50 hours or 2.50 hours, or yeah. So for the amount billed is going to be the rate multiplied by the number of hours used. So you're just going to say it's equal to the rate multiplied by the number of hours used. And you click OK. So the amount billed here is 500. You can just drag it down, and it's going to show different amount billed, right? So we have more questions here, which is like statistics question. It says total hours logged. So how do we know total hours logged? We just say equal to sum. We want to sum everything together. You must have learned this if you watched my first video. So we're talking about total hours logged. So hours logged is here. We scroll down to the last, and we close the brackets. And it's going to tell us, oh, the hours is 203.50, and it's giving us total amount billed. So we say equal to sum the total amount billed. So we have this, and we close the bracket, and it's going to give us $8,790. And here is saying average days open. So we have days open. So if it says average, then we say equal to average open bracket and say days open. I want to highlight everything here. So give me the average of the range of numbers that we have there. So it's giving me 6, and it's saying shortest number of days open. So if it's shortest number, it means the minimum, equal to mean in brackets number of days open, and you close the brackets. You have 2, and it's saying longest number of days open. That's maximum. Max equals max. You open it, and you select that range. So that's the last one, and it's going to give you 11. You see how easy that is. Yeah. So it means we've helped complete this table, which is a good. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about present value. Some of you, you're doing finance or accounting, or some you have a combination of finance and accounting. And in finance, you have present value, you have future value, you have net present value, you have so many things that you can calculate there. So one good thing is Excel can help us with the calculation. So let's assume you have this information, number of years, 15, interest rate as 20%, that's 0.2, and you have future value as $100,000. And you're asked to find the present value. The first thing you have to ask yourself is, oh, where am I going to get the present value formula? The formula is definitely going to be under financial, right? So you have to click under financial and look for PV, present value. So when you get present value, it's going to ask you a couple of questions. It's going to say, what is the rate? And you have the information here. The rate is 0.2. And it's going to ask you, NPAR is the total number of payment period in an investment. So what's the total number of payment period here? It's saying 15 years. And what is the PMT? PMT is the payment made each period and cannot change over the life of the investment. Do you have PMT here? I don't think so. So I'm just going to put a 0 there, and he's asking for future value. Future value. So we have future value as 100,000. So you're going to click OK. So when you click OK, you'll notice this is giving us a negative value. It's giving us a negative value. It's just saying you're going to pay 6,490, and that's the present value. So when you get a value like this, for you to report it, you if it's in accounting, you don't put -6. You put negative numbers in parentheses. You put negative numbers in parentheses, something like this. Something like this. If you have 6,490.55, so it's going to be in parentheses. This is saying it's negative. This is saying the figure is negative. So please take note of that. I hope you saw how I was able to get the present value. I hope you saw how I was able to get the present value. So I want you to practice. Find the present value of 1,000 in 4 years with an annual rate of 12%. So I want you to do that. Practice that on your own. The next thing that we're going to do is, many of you're familiar with this this data set. I think we used it as part of our workbook practice 1. So here you have total revenue. And one thing you want to do is you want to forecast revenue. So because we have our total revenue, we can easily say, okay, this is what we're going to get maybe in the next month, in the next year. But for us to do our forecast, we must have what is known as percentage increase. So if you look here, there's an assumption. There's an assumption that we're going to have 15% increment, maybe year on year or quarterly, or as the case may be. So we want to do what is known as forecasting. So I'm going to create a table and say, this is our forecast. This is our forecast. I'm just going to give this more space. Yeah, so this is our forecast. And how do you calculate forecast? How do you calculate forecast? Your forecast is simply the total revenue, because you have this, the total revenue plus the total revenue multiplied by our assumption, that is the percentage increase. The percentage increase. I hope you saw that. So our forecast is the total revenue plus the total revenue multiplied by the percentage increase, right? So you click enter and it's going to show you that value. So because we've used C24, sorry, I'm just going to do that again. It's TR plus the TR multiplied by the percentage increase. And please remember, because we're going to copy the formula, we must make our C27 absolute. We must make our C27 absolute. So when you make it absolute, it's not going to change the result of the first one. But if you don't make it absolute, the result of the subsequent ones you're going to get is going to be, it's going to come back as error. It's going to give you an error code. So you can easily copy the formula and you're going to get the forecast value, which is a good thing. You get the forecast value. So anytime you want to do forecast, you must have percentage increase. So if it's sales figure that you've been given maybe your total sales or your total cost or total revenue, and you're asked to give a forecast, then you must have percentage increase, which is going to help you give the forecast. I hope this is clear. So I'm just going to move to another file. I'm going to move to another file. And this time we want to do something else. We want to do something else. What do we want to learn? We want to learn about trends, and we're going to answer a couple of questions. So I'm just going to answer maybe one question or two questions for you, and I'm going to leave you to answer the remaining questions. So you'll be given this data. This is top 6 United States airports by traffic count, right? We also have total passenger count here. So the first thing here is it's saying what is the trend. So you've been given data from 2006, that's year 2006 to year 2016, and we want to know the trend. So the first thing you're going to do is to get the trend, you go to insert, you go to insert, and you look for spark lines. Look for spark lines. So usually for trends, you don't use column, you use lines. You use lines for trends. So you click on lines, and it's going to give you a data range. It's going to ask you, what is the data range? Then you can now say, okay, I want it from 2006 to 2016. And you say, okay. So you see, this is the spark line here. You see the spark line. It's just giving us an idea whether we're getting more passenger count or we're getting less. And this shows an upward trend. So you can easily drop this down and you're going to see how the trend is going. Some are going up, some they're kind of cyclical in movement, so to say. So, and you have questions on the second page. The first question says, which airports had the most passengers for all years, 2006 to 2016? So how do you do that? You're going to say, okay, let me get the total for, right? Let me get the total for all airports. So you can say equal to sum. We all know how to add it all together. You just say sum all this for me. So, and it's going to give you value. You can drag it down. It's going to sum all of that for you. And obviously, you've seen this as the leading figure, right? And it's Atlanta, Georgia. So that's ATL. That's the airport code. So you have to use the airport code ATL here, right? So our answer here would be ATL. So it's saying how many airports had fewer passengers in 2008 compared to 2007? So this is a question that for you to know, you can't just look at the data. You have to maybe come up with a bar chart. which takes us to a bar chart. You have to come up with a bar chart. So let's go. So we're comparing 2008, 2007, and 2008. So what can we do? We're going to highlight this and say all these airports want to compare their data. So you have to hold down your control keyboard on your keyboard and highlight 2007 and 2008. So you see, it's going to let you do that. And you have to go and click insert and say, I need recommended chart for this. I need recommended chart for this. So it's going to give you chart. So when you get this, when you get this chart, you can move the chart around. And we have to go back to the question and say, how many airports had fewer passengers in 2008 compared to 2007? So you must have fewer passengers in 2008 compared to 2007. So obviously the orange one with 90,039 is 2008, and the blue one is 2007. So they must have more passengers in 2008 compared to 2007. So our 2008 is here. They have more data. So when you look at this data, 47,799, you have 47,716. So New York is one. 2008 passengers are more than 2007. Denver is another. And lastly, you have ATL. So you have JFK, DN, and ATL. So that's 3, right? It's saying enter a value such as 1. So here we're going to enter the value 3. What year did JFK start having more passengers than DN? So we want to compare JFK and DN. So where is JFK? So you can go on this and you just click backspace and the data is going to go off. So JFK and DN, so we want to compare these. So you're going to go to insert again and go and look for recommended chart. So you can see it clearly from here. So it says, what year did the JFK start having more passengers than DN? So you have DN here as blue, and you can see it has more passengers. Here, it's so close. But DN has more passengers. Then, this is the year. And the year is 2015. The year is 2015. So you have 2015, that's the year. So what year did start having more passengers? Then you can say 2015, that's the year. So I want you to try to answer the remaining 2. Try to answer the remaining 2. Try to answer the remaining 2 questions. Try to answer the remaining 2 questions. So I guess that was easy for you. So, and okay, so I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. With what we've looked at, it means we've looked at 1, if function. We've looked at the use of VLOOKUP. we've looked at the use of Sparkline. Sparkline is used to study trend, and you saw how I use that. We also looked at present value, how you can calculate present value, and how you can do forecasting. We have also gone through how you can create bar charts. So you can see how I highlighted data to create charts. So you have recommended charts each time you have information. So you can just highlight the information and use recommended charts. So I hope this is going to help you in your exam. So if you're confident enough, just practice, and take the exam. I wish you the very best. So bye for now.